But people are in emotional ICU. They can be married, have a kid, have a job. They're screwed up.
You ready?
You can edit. Cheers.
1, 2, 3. All right, I am here with Randy Guttenberger. Randy, first of all, before we begin, how long ago did we meet? You're another guy who I met at the very beginning of what you're doing. Is it 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
It had to be 5 years ago, because when I came out with the book and created the landing page, the guy recommended me use you for a video.
And somebody was just asking me, how did you find me? Was it just, did you know someone who knew me? Had to be, because most of my stuff...
It was that, and he was the one that did the landing page, and I was telling him I needed to do a video, and he said, I got a guy for you, and he gave me you.
Okay, very cool. So, Randy I met, and you're going to tell people what you do, but when I met you, you were at the... As a matter of fact, when we shot the first video, we shot it at a church, because
Yes.
it was free space. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Money was tight, and you're like, I have an idea. This is what I want to do. I shot it, didn't really understand. Most times I really understand every time, I understand what my clients, what their message is. Yours I couldn't figure out, but you were doing it. I'm like, all right, I'm just shooting it.
I didn't know what I was doing either.
Yeah, you say that. And then I left, I'm thinking, man, this guy's, he's got something. It's hard to explain, but hey, I'm doing the video, that's fine. Let's talk about today. First of all, tell people what you do, and then tell people where you are today.
It's really challenging to tell people what I do because it's grown so much. But I worked 25 years helping improve employee performance in the workplace. There's people problems and there's operation problems. And I solve the people problems. Well, I've been working with companies for years, and I still do a few companies in different states. But I'm now training counselors in 8 states. We have about 120 that are in a certification program to learn this whole program.
Yeah.
And we're getting them to do workshops in their city. So now I've taught them the curriculum to deliver it on a one-on-one basis. Now we're teaching them to do it in group presentations, which is a whole different skill set.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have the nonprofit that we're building for veterans, foster care, and schools. And we have a school curriculum we're rolling out. It's almost complete. And we have 3 clinics in Houston area and 1 affiliate in the Woodlands. So it's on the verge of really taking off nationally, we think. So.
And you have some things that you're looking at, because we're going to come back to when you're beginning, but you also have some things you're looking at towards the end of the year. You were telling me about them before we had the camera on.
Yeah.
So just briefly tell me what you're looking at, what you think may be happening.
We have major donors that want to fund our mental health education to go across the country because they agree with our vision that this needs to be a grassroots thing, local in every community. That's why I want 3,000 certified people around the country. And of course, the hardest part is to get the first 100. But we have that. So now we get to refine it and perfect it and duplicate it. And we're real close to making it cookie cutter. And of course, COVID was a struggle because the counselor conferences we were speaking at all went virtual. They weren't meeting. So you lose a lot on a virtual presentation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But they're opening back up. But what we did was went online and did all the videos, and you helped us with those.
Yeah.
And we shot all these videos to break all the parts down so that people can learn it as they wish. And so we have every part of the program scripted with PowerPoints, videos, quizzes. It's all set. So I jokingly say, I got to say this for fun.
Yeah, yeah.
I can go to anybody in the street, give them the script, who doesn't know squat about mental health. And we'll pick someone else walking on the street just to say, hey, I want you to try this. And the guy will read the script and the person will get it. It's that good, it's that simple. We make it simple. God's first language isn't English.
And you said it's art.
I believe it's art.
All right. So
in all forms.
So explain that.
Well, obviously, if you're a believer in God, He existed before man. But when we're born, we don't learn language till years 2 or 3. You're learning it, but you can't recite it. The brain doesn't, input is not output.
Right.
So children learn to speak over time, but your spirit is there at birth. So when we say we want to get a message from God, we keep thinking He's going to speak in English. That's not how He's going to talk. He's going to talk in circumstances. He's going to talk in art forms, scenarios, music. And the beauty of what He did in human was create us. So God went into the workshop one day and said, you know what, I'm just going to see what I can think around and come up with. And He made earth, and He made man, and He did all this great stuff. But it was creation. out of nothing. No, we're designed of God. Nothing in us is not of God. So we are designed to be creators too. So the best part of a human being is our expression. But that can come through music, painting, landscaping, writing. All forms of art are our creative expression. But what we get caught up in is our emotional wounds.
So what were some of the challenges at the very beginning, getting this idea of what you want to do? Because you had this thing in your head, hey, I'd love to work with counselors. You mentioned a minute ago, you are not certified, you're not a counselor per se, right? You're not a counselor.
Right.
But now you have counselors.
I'm training counselors.
You're training, which is
I'm
amazing.
retraining them.
Which is amazing.
And I'm retraining psychologists. They don't know this stuff. The counseling world does not know the business corporate tools. So I'm bringing business corporate management principles and tools to counseling.
But Randy, you're also bringing a way of looking at people to counselors.
Yes, very practical.
Something that they've been,
with neuroscience. So it's a package. It's very innovative, way ahead of the curve. And
way ahead of the curve.
No matter which group looks at it, it's a deep matrix that unveils wonderful things for them. It's a learning curve for everybody.
Okay, so again, going back to the very early days, you have this great concept. This is what I'm going to do, but you're making phone calls. People are probably hanging up on you or saying, "Well, we'll think about it."
I always lived off referrals. Once I got going, they would take me home with them to work with their spouse or their kids. They'd promote and go to the next company. I never had to market. The challenge at that time was I got to now market it because I need 3,000 people across the country to do it.
Right.
Well, how do I find them? What do I say? What form is it in? How frequent? Social media is changing. Then you get, Twitter and texting and whatever.
Whatever the hell's out today,
Yeah, all the stuff. And that was the challenge is how do you do it? And then technology's moving. You get a website, well, now we got a better website. We got a better deal. We got a better this. And it's not simple like in the old days where, you produce a Model T Ford and it's a Model T Ford for decades.
That's right. That's right.
Everything you produce nowadays in 2 years, it's almost obsolete.
So some of your hardest frustrations on that exact note, some of those you figure out
being a solo entrepreneur, I didn't have the money. I don't come from wealth. I can tell you great stories of people that invest $1 million and 12 years later they might make a profit, their first profit. I didn't have that.
Wow. And
so I have to juggle all the balls as an entrepreneur. And so you have to be very persistent. You really have to believe in it. And in the movie Moneyball, if you remember the movie, he asks him, we're asking the wrong question. The question is, do we believe in this thing or not? And that's what you got to get to. When you believe in it and you know it works, you go with it, it will work for you. And you look for those that are ready. So it's finding the people that are ready. What's my marketing going to be? It's always been the marketing.
Finding the people. You're talking about finding the people, the target market that are ready to buy?
Who are ready because they want to learn. They either got a problem they want to solve or a goal they want to achieve.
Okay.
If you're thinking you're rocking along, you don't have a problem, you're not going to pay attention.
Oh, that's true.
And I found that with companies all the time. I need them tanking or growing so fast. That's who is willing.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
I learned another cool thing. On a bell curve, the market's on a bell curve. The top 16%, it's a standard deviation. So the middle, 34 on one side and 34% on the other side is a 68% standard deviation.
Okay.
That's not your market. When you're an entrepreneur, you're in the top 2.5%. And that top 16% is your market.
Wow, never
You
thought
market
that
to them, they sell the 68%. The bottom 16%, we don't even know why they're there. Just ignore them.
That's great.
Now, I didn't invent this. I should be able to give credit to who told, but I learned it. It was great.